On Monday night, Paul Ryan held a town hall discussion in Wisconsin where he finally decided to take some questions from his constituents and try to calm all the fears that people have over the fact that Republicans are trying to take everything away from them. But there was one question from an audience member that Paul Ryan was certainly not prepared to answer, and that question came from Sister Erica Jordan, who happens to be a Catholic nun. Paul Ryan himself is also a Catholic. And all this nun wanted to know was, how do you reconcile your faith against the fact that your policies, specifically his tax plan and his attempt to repeal the Affordable Care Act, is what she specifically said. How do you reconcile that against the Catholic faith that says you're supposed to be working for the poor and for the working class? Well, in typical Paul Ryan fashion, he didn't answer the question. In fact, he told the nun, "This is going to surprise you, but I actually agree with you. I think we just have a difference in how we go about doing that." Because in Paul Ryan's demented little mind, he thinks that the best way to help the poor is, I guess, to strip them of their health care coverage and to give a bunch of tax incentives to wealthy people. Because I'm not sure the logic is there, but I guess Paul Ryan thinks that if we take people's health care away from them, maybe they'll just do a little better to not get sick. Or maybe they'll go get a better job that provides health insurance. And if we give all those tax cuts to the rich, maybe it will inspire poor people to suddenly just get rich, and then they get those tax cuts too. Because that is the only logic, I guess, that you could use to defend your actions in protecting the wealthy while stripping the poor of everything they have, and somehow reconcile that with your Catholic faith. I'm going to be totally honest here, folks. I spent the first few years of my young life during my education, kindergarten, first, second grade, in a Catholic school. And let me tell you this. You do not argue with a nun. And when it comes to somebody who actually knows more about politics than you, who's not even in politics, you sure as hell don't try to argue with that person. That nun came armed not only with every fact she needed to refute Ryan on religion, but every fact she needed to refute him on policy. It's interesting to see what's kind of happening right now with the Catholic Church. And I understand there's still a lot of really disgusting behavior within the church that needs to be purged immediately. But we're seeing a far more progressive Catholic Church start to take hold. Catholic nuns, including the one who was at that town hall on Monday night, have been outspoken critics of the Republican plan to repeal the Affordable Care Act. The Confederacy of Catholic, I believe, bishops in the United States also came out against it. We have a pope who's talking about the need to help the poor and stop coddling the wealthy. If this trend continues, we might see an entire huge part of the United States population, the Catholics specifically, switch. If the church starts telling people that it's more important to take care of the poor and feed the hungry and care for the sick than it is to vote on party lines based on abortion, which is what the church's stance has typically been, then we might see a sea change in this country. The religious right is never going to change, but the Catholics have never necessarily been a part of that. So if we can convert them, we could see some real progress in this country. And as long as they keep speaking out like Sister Erica Jordan did against Paul Ryan on Monday night, these so-called Catholic Republicans will not have a leg to stand on. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see here on Ring of Fire, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel. You can see the little subscribe button down there, but if you're watching it on another device where you can't see it, go to youtube.com/TheRingOfFire, hit subscribe, be notified every time we get a new video.